Hi, Falcon team. In our first unit, we will be writing hard news articles. To prepare, it's important to understand what makes something news to your particular audience. This video will introduce you to the 7 pillars of news, or news value. News value is a term used to describe whether a particular story is, in fact, news. When a story has one or more of the pillars of news, it has news value, but some stories have more value to readers than others. The more of the 7 pillars of news that your article, video, podcast, etc. meets, the more news value your story has for your audience. The first pillar of news is timeliness or immediacy. What is happening now? If it happened last month or last year, it's not news anymore, it's history. The second pillar is proximity. How close to your readers did something happen? Will they feel connected? Often, something that is happening in a person's school, neighborhood, town, or city is more meaningful to them than something taking place across the state or across the world. The third pillar is impact and consequence. How will this event affect your readers? Something that will change your readers' lives, even in a really small way, is more important than something that won't have any consequences for them. The fourth pillar of news value is prominence or celebrity. Is a well-known person part of the story? Readers like to read about people they know. If a person's well-known, more readers will be interested than if they've never heard of the person. This includes prominent people in your school or city, not just famous celebrities. The fifth pillar is oddity, rarity, or novelty. If something is out of the ordinary, it may be newsworthy just because it's unusual or weird. The strange or unusual is fascinating to many readers. Events that happen only rarely or are a first are more newsworthy than something that happens all the time. The sixth pillar is human interest and emotion. Does the story make you want to laugh or cry? Anything that appeals to readers' emotions is interesting. Stories that make people laugh, cry, get angry, feel sympathy or pity, or be amazed are often the most read stories in the paper or on a website. The seventh pillar of news value is currency. Some stories are news simply because a lot of people are talking about them. Often, these are stories that people think are overblown or non-news. So, to review, the more pillars of news that your story has for your particular audience, the more value it will have. The 7 pillars of news are: 1. Timeliness. Is it timely or immediate? 2. Proximity. Is it happening nearby? 3. Impact and consequence. Does it affect the readers or viewers or have some consequence for their lives? 4. Prominence and celebrity. Is it about someone who is well known? 5. Oddity, rarity, novelty. Is it odd, rare, weird, a first, or otherwise outside the ordinary? 6. Human interest. Does it tug at the heartstrings? And 7. Currency. Is it something everyone is talking about in social media or other news media? When you're choosing your hard news story, there are other important considerations to keep in mind. It is essential to consider your audience. Always remember who your readers or viewers are. Some stories will appeal more to teens. Some are more interesting to parents or to teachers. Keep your readers' inherent interest in mind when deciding if it's news to them. It's also important to consider school policy. Sometimes publications like the Falcon may choose not to report something that would otherwise be newsworthy because of our school policies. This could include articles that could bring harm to members of the community or a story related to an underage student who's a victim of a crime. You also should consider your competition. With the 24/7 news cycle, what one publication reports on often becomes news for many or all of the others. Your competition is whatever other media your audience consumes. Think of nearby schools' publications as your competition. It's always good to watch and read what other schools are covering. Finally, it's important to consider presentation. Sometimes something gets a good position on a site because of how it looks. If it has a great photo, a really catchy headline, or a cool infographic with some startling statistic, it's going to attract more readers. So to conclude, as you begin brainstorming for your first hard news story this year, remember to consider the 7 pillars of news and these other important considerations. What will be the news value of your story to the Falcons audience?